What is up, people YouTube? It is I, SuperMarioZilla, or you can call me Vinny, and today we are going to take a look at the S.H.MonsterArts Super MechaGodzilla. To make MechaG's history brief, he came from the 1993 film Godzilla vs. MechaGodzilla 2. In the movie, he was built from the scraps of Mecha King Ghidorah, and is used to try kill Godzilla. That was until Godzilla finds ways to defeat the big MechaG. So now that you know who he is, let's not waste any more time and take a look at the figure. When it comes to Sculpt, there isn't too much to talk about since a good chunk of it is just smooth textures. Still, Sculpt nonetheless is great. The head has a mechanical sculpt on the cheeks, and everywhere else on the head is a nice detailed sculpt that captures the likeness of MechaG 93. The eyes look great too, and you can actually see them yellow unlike the original's dull orange. One other thing I really like is that they give the inside of the mouth details for the Mega Buster cannons. The neck is also a nice sculpt with the various vents, and it doesn't look bad. The pecs have a smooth sculpt with various vents, and it looks great. It should also be noted that on mine, there's a hair stuck in the paint. Yeah, totally not a NECA or Bandai Creations figure. The stomach has a good sculpt with a little triangle on the bottom, and it looks good. The arms have a smooth sculpt with the vents on them, and it looks good. The hands also look great, and paint, surprisingly, is clean. The legs have a bulky, smooth sculpt with the vents once again, and it looks great. The feet are also that MechaG foot sculpt, and it looks pretty sweet. The dorsal plates look great too. They transition to small, to big, and to small again, and it looks pretty cool. The tail has a smooth, segmented sculpt, and looks good too. Unfortunately though, the tail does have some parts where some of the paint got chipped off. Perfect. So sculpt on MechaG is great, and the paint job, at least in my opinion, is pretty sick. Articulation actually has some new engineering, unlike the original MG, so let's go over it. Head can swivel. It's pretty stiff, however, so do be careful. Mouth can open. It's on a hinge. Head can look up. Can move up and down, because if you look here, the dorsal plates right here go in, push the head up, push it down. I said push it down. And there you go. He's in flight mode. So yeah, that's actually really cool. So you don't have to risk breaking any parts. You can just push back up, slide it back down, no problem. However, the articulation does allow you to do some looking up poses. Though do be aware, you can't do it like this, otherwise he's just gonna look like a giraffe. So if you hide it with angles, it won't look that bad. Waist is on a ball joint here and here. Though the bottom one is pretty stiff, so do be mindful of that. Arms are on a ball joint. They can swivel, move this far back, this far forward. There's a bit of a butterfly joint inside there that allows more range. So that's good. No bicep swivel, unfortunately, so yeah, that kind of sucks. Elbows are on a hinge. They can move this far forward, this far back. Not bad. Hands are on a swivel hinge. Range is pretty good. Legs. They have new sculpt marks to prevent any gaps, which is definitely a good thing. However, they no longer have the pull-down style figure arts type hinge. Instead, they can only just move forward, and move back, and move off to the sides. Just a little bit. There are no splits, for obvious reasons. Some people may dislike this, and that's fine, but me personally, it's not that bad. Knees on a hinge right here and here. They don't have the engineering where you can pull them down like the original. So, for those that wanted that as well, oh well. Yeah, I know, that kind of sucks. It makes you wonder why they just changed that, but nobody knows. You're going to have to ask Bandai themselves. Ankles, they can move this far forward, this far back, this far forward, and barely off to the sides. And toes are on a hinge. This ankle, was super stiff. I had to take soap to the ball joint because it was like giving me so much resistance, and it almost felt like I was about to snap the peg. So if you're sensitive like that, don't force it. Use soap. Take it to the ball joint, and you should be good to go. Anyway, last but not least, the tail can actually move down and up. So that way you can do it in flight mode, that way you don't have to interchange the tail pieces like the original. So, the tail articulation is my favorite part because it's kind of fun and kind of cute to see MechaGodzilla 2 just wag his little metal tail around. I don't know, I kind of fanboyed when I heard about this. And I can't believe I am tough enough to admit that. So articulation for Super MG, it's actually not that bad. Lack of range in the knees and the legs may bother some people, but it's really not that bad if you consider that this is, MechaGodzilla. He doesn't need to do that much stuff. Still, articulation for me will get a pass. MechaG stands almost 7 inches. That's pretty big for the average MechaGodzilla. Anyway, let's do some size comparisons. Here he is compared to the S.H.MonsterArts King Kong and Mogira. Here he is compared to the S.H.MonsterArts Godzilla 94 and Little Godzilla. Here he is compared to the S.H.MonsterArts Destroyer and Mecha King Ghidorah. Here he is with the S.H.MonsterArts Gigan 2004 and Kiryu 2002. And finally, here he is with the S.H.MonsterArts Fire Rodian and Godzilla Birth version or Adult Jr. MechaGodzilla is a bit bigger than the usual 6-inch Godzilla, and he goes good with the other monsters as well. Before we move on, let's compare him to the original MechaGodzilla figure. The differences sure are real with this one, most notable being the paint. Not to mention some of the slight differences with the sculpt. MechaGodzilla comes with plenty. Once again, there are no beams for the figure. If you do have the original, you can use the Mega Buster for Super MechaGodzilla. Yeah. That is, if you have it. Anyway, let's go over the stuff that he comes with. He comes with his plasma grenade launcher stomach piece. No complaints with it, it looks great. To attach, remove the top half of the figure. Remove the already attached stomach piece. And finally, put the launcher on where the last piece was, and there you go. Next, he comes with the hands used for flight mode. Once again, no complaints, sculpt is good, and paint, surprisingly, again, is clean. It's easier to attach than the originals. There won't be any risks for the peg breaking. And finally, the main attraction, the Garuda. This thing looks fantastic. Sculpt is great, and paint is also pretty good. Unfortunately, there is an issue with this thing. The thrusters are horribly uneven and not attached correctly. Worst part is, you can't move it. Not unless if you break it, and that's not ideal. That's not something we should have to do with a $150 figure. So this is pretty disappointing. And no, this is not just on mine. This is a universal issue. The Garuda comes with a stand just in case you want to display it by itself. And finally it comes with all this stuff to attach it to MechaG. Remove this flat piece. Remove these 2 pieces and replace them with the other 2. Remove the back piece and replace it with the other back piece. Attach the Garuda and bam! You now have Super MechaGodzilla. Unfortunately, this Garuda comes with no beams, which sucks. Big time! Even if you had the original Garuda, you can't use the beams that came with that one and put them on the new one, which is really confusing. Aside from that, I'm happy to have a complete MechaGodzilla 93. And it comes with the accessories he would need. I just wish that they included the beams. Overall, this figure is solid. The flaws are there and do hold this figure back a little bit, but the positives largely outweigh the negatives. In my opinion, this release is better than the original. The sculpt has minor improvements, and the paint job is also really nice on this. And the Garuda coming with the figure seals the deal. So needless to say, if you don't have the original MechaGodzilla 93, this is definitely a release you don't want to miss out on. If you already have the original MechaG and the original Garuda release, there's really no reason to pick this set up. You won't be missing out too much if you skip on it. But if you don't have the Garuda, that's a completely different story. So if you love MechaG and need a complete one, this figure is for you. I'm certainly not afraid to give this figure a 9.5 out of 10. This figure just became one of my favorite MonsterArts. I know I've been giving repaints a lot of shit, but hey, I'll give credit where credit is due. With that being said, thank you all so much for watching, and if you like this video, leave a like, and if you want to share your thoughts, leave a comment down below. And if you like this video and want to see others like it, you can subscribe. And if you also want to, you can follow me on Instagram. Link to it is in the description below. With that being said, guys and gals, I'm Super MarioZilla, and I am out. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.